What's up, Army? It's Jackie, also known as Jackie in the Soup, and welcome to Talk Bangtan to Me, a podcast all about BTS for Army. Whether you're a seasoned Army or just discovering the magic of Bangtan, this podcast is a space to celebrate the music, the moments, and the incredible impact BTS has on our lives. I'll be diving into the world of fandom, chatting with fellow Army, and sharing all the reasons why we love these 7 normal boys from Korea. So come into my own little magic shop and talk Bangtan to me. Welcome to episode 10 of the podcast. Oh my gosh, 10 episodes. Time is flying by. We are continuing the member series. Up next is the man of the year. I'm just going to say it, J-Hope. But first, I wanted to share a couple of things about what the podcast is going to look like in the coming weeks. After this episode, I'm going to be taking a brief pause while I embark on my maiden voyage to Korea for Festa. It almost doesn't feel real. We have been planning this trip for months and months, and it's right around the corner. I am really excited to enjoy Festa with everybody, and we will certainly have a special Festa episode, but it's likely not going to happen until I return from Korea. And then we will also continue on the member series. Up next will be our sweet mochi Jimin. So thanks for your patience as I go on a little bit of a vacation. I'm excited to just take it all in and not have any responsibilities. When you're a full-time working mother, podcaster, content creator, it just feels like you never stop. So I am going to stop and just enjoy BTS the way I did when I first found them. A couple of things that have been going on since the last episode. I experienced my first Korean ticketing process. Again, I shared that on my Instagram. I was so nervous to do Interpark. Interpark is like the final boss. Interpark is the Korean ticketing system. The website looks like it hasn't been updated since the 90s. Like, it's a very dated looking website. It works, it serves its purpose, but it's just not the best. It's known for kicking people out. Looking around for seats is pretty difficult. I was okay because I had kind of studied what buying tickets in Interpark looks like beforehand. But if you were going into that totally blind, I can't imagine how you would know how to navigate through that, from the face verification to the toggling of the seats, all of these things. It was a pretty wild experience, but I got up at 6:30 in the morning and I somehow, by the grace of the Bangtan gods, got a ticket for night 1 and night 2 of Hope on the Stage in Seoul. So I cannot believe that I'll be seeing J-Hope twice and the members will be discharged. It'll be Festa. I'll be with my friends. It's going to be a surreal moment. I wish I could share that concert with you all, but from what I hear, Korea is pretty strict on recording and all of those things, and I'm not trying to get taken down by anyone. So I'll probably just be in the moment. The possibility of the members being in the crowd has me completely shook. We'll see if they show up. I think they will. But yeah, I would anticipate any moment now we're going to get some sort of a Festa schedule. I don't know that there'll be many big things other than J-Hope's concert. That's kind of like the main event. But there probably will be something, some sort of content, pictures, activities for Army. And that usually comes out anywhere from the last week of May to the first week of June. So that's going to be all the buzz very soon. We had the release of Echo. Echo came out. Jin is promoting. He's over in the US right now. He's about to go on Jimmy Fallon, is doing a high touch event where he gets to meet some armies. He's just out there doing his thing. He looks amazing. He looks really healthy and happy. And I don't know, he just seems a lot more comfortable since Happy, because this wasn't as rushed as Happy was, and he had a little more time to work on it, but he's definitely looking very polished, very mature, and it goes along with the album. I'll tell you, when I first listened, I was kind of lukewarm about it. I thought it was solid. The song choices were good. He sounds good. Nothing wrong with it. But I was kind of like lukewarm. And that's not the first time that's happened. That's happened to me with Jimin's Face. That's happened to me with Right Place, Wrong Person, where I'm just like, I don't know about this one for me. But I'm happy to say that after a few listens, it is certainly growing on me. I thought Rope It was so corny. I mean, it is corny, It's corny, but I have come to absolutely love it and can't wait to see how that's going to transpire on stage and what Army is going to do. I think this whole like country western thing is going to blow up with the fandom on his tour. It's going to be so fun. So yeah, there's a couple notable tracks on there that kind of jumped out at me. Not every single one, but I do think it's solid and people really really love it. And I love that for him. I think it gave you a little bit of what you're used to with Jin. There was that soaring ballad, but I don't know. It's got a different kind of sound. And we kind of predicted Rocker Jin was going to come out with this album. I don't know that he's necessarily rocker Jin, but definitely some alternative slash pop Jin, which I'm cool with. It's definitely matching the vibe that he's doing with like sneakers and blazers and chains and all that stuff. So we will certainly be talking more about Jin and Echo as we shift into Run Sok Jin EP tour after Festa wraps up. So for right now, we are going to cheer him on. We're going to continue with this member series and then we'll get ready for Festa. So without further ado, let's get into it. J-Hope, Jung Ho Sok, Hobie, Dom Sok. This man has wreaked havoc on the fandom this year. In my years of standing BTS, I have not seen a member turn the fandom upside down the way Hobie has this year. I feel like he's almost like a new love for people. People are seeing him a lot differently now. That is why I said he's like the man of the year, because I feel like the evolution of him as an artist and the success of his tour has really thrown us for a loop. As I always do, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on him for some of our newer armies. He is the third member to join the group after RM and Suga. He started as a trainee with them. Now, this man, which you would never know it to this day, had no experience with rap or singing. He was a dancer. He was in the street dancing scene. He was on a dance team called Neuron, which won awards, was pretty well known. He auditioned for the group and became a trainee. Now, he also had no experience with production, music production either, which is wild when you think about how he produced Jack in the Box and his other albums by himself, sitting in that recording studio by himself, producing that. That is some natural God given talent if he was able to pick that up. Or he's just great at soaking up knowledge. And he had RM and Suga on his side, so that helped him too. His name, J Hope, stems from a couple of things. There's a couple of different explanations he's had for it. He has said that it stems from his hope for the members of BTS and his hope for Army. He talks about the myth of Pandora's box, that when you open up Pandora's box and all the evil is let out, you are left with hope. But he definitely has really taken that name and kind of made it his persona, right? Like this whole theme of hope is prominent from day one to now. His official position in the group is rapper and dance leader or dance captain. He is the one that's learning the choreo really quick and kind of directing the group. I almost want to say he's like a performance leader for them. He's always the one that is being critical of their performance and how they look. He's meticulous, he's professional, he wants it done right. So that makes sense to me why he became the dance leader. One thing that kind of drives me nuts a little bit, I'm just being honest, some armies like to focus on the fact that he got harassed about his looks a lot in the early days. A clip where he didn't get any fan mail and he was very upset. That whole kind of like pity party around him. I don't know if I buy it fully because he's always been really strong. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't Army back then, but when I look back on their older stuff, there really wasn't any moment where I think he was anything less than the other members. So this whole narrative that he was like the unpopular one kind of baffles me. I don't know. But I will say, I think that he was one of those that was a little bit in the background in those initial days. And really, it's because of that dang Maknae line. Like the Maknae line is just always in your face. And like the rap line kind of knows that. They even say that openly. They joke about that the vocal line The Maknaes plus Jin are like really handsome and have the looks, and they're good with them being in the forefront, and the rap line kind of stays in the back. So in that sense, I could see how J-Hope was kind of overshadowed by them. But as they went on in their career, he really started to hold his own. In 2018, Hope World came out, was received really well. And that was my first solo album that I experienced with BTS. I picked up Hope World and I was like, what is this? I loved the overall vibe and feeling of J Hope. Like, honestly, if you think about a street dancer who becomes a rapper, that's like exactly what his music sounds like to me. It sounds like he's turning dance into rap. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's how I feel. His rap made me want to dance, whereas I would say Yoongi's rap makes me want to rage. Namjoon's rap makes me want to be really introspective and think. J-Hope's rap makes me want to dance. And for that, I loved it. It's just all vibes. Hope World charted in 10 countries. So it did fairly well. It didn't reach number 1 or anything, but it did chart. I mean, the album has hit after hit after hit. And I think that on his Hope on the Stage tour, people are realizing how strong of an album that is. I mean, Baseline, Hang Sang, Daydream, Airplane Part 2, like it's just a no skip album for me. And maybe it took people really seeing those live and the energy he brings to those songs to really fall hard for them. But I always felt that it was super good. On the 3rd year anniversary of Hope World, he released an extended version of Blue Side. And Blue Side is like that interruption song. Like you have all the vibes of Hope World, and then Blue Side's a little something different. And it kind of gave you this glimpse into this other, much deeper side of him, which was the perfect segue into his next album, Jack in the Box. Now I'm thinking back to Jack in the Box. That was released about a month after their Festa 2022 dinner where they announced their hiatus. I remember still kind of reeling and feeling the emotions from that festa, and then bam, we got hit with Jack in the Box. And I remember thinking, when was he working on that? Like he must have been working on that this whole time because it was just ready to go. And he did Lollapalooza. Lollapalooza was like a moment of truth, it felt like. I remember us all kind of holding our breath. I mean, this was the first time a member was headlining a major festival stage on his own. As soon as he announced that was happening, Army just suited up, got on planes, and got to Chicago and endured the heat and waited for him. The turnout was absolutely incredible. And if I remember correctly, we only had like a day or two from the release of the album to Lollapalooza, and Armies knew the words. They knew the words and they were singing the words back to him, and it had to have felt surreal for him in that moment. It was such a good set. His look was totally different. He had that shaggy hair and gloves and glasses. It was a whole new look for him, and it was shocking to see. We were all down bad for it, but now I'm thinking about how he looks for Hope on the stage and I'm like, that's a different person. That is an entirely different person at Lollapalooza. Who is that guy? When he later released his documentary around Jack in the Box, he showed how grueling it was for him to create this album and prepare for Lollapalooza. I mean, he's so meticulous and such a perfectionist that he worked himself to death. I mean, if you look at him right before Lollapalooza, he was skinny. He lost weight. He wasn't eating. He was not sleeping. He was locked up in that studio because he was that dedicated to making this album the best it could possibly be in his eyes, and that performance being the best debut performance he can hope for. So another significant moment I think in Hobie's career path is his collab with J. Cole on the street right before he enlisted. It was kind of like his goodbye gift to us. J. Cole is a hero of his. So this was a big moment for Hobie, but this song also brought more people into the fandom, got people dialed in on Hobie. Who is this guy collabing with J. Cole? I personally didn't know much about J. Cole, but apparently he's got a massive fandom. and he's really well respected and well known. So J-Hope doing this collab with him was great. And I can imagine if you were discovering J-Hope through this collab, you go to say, "Oh, who's this guy J-Hope?" And then he is enlisted in the military. Like, what? But it got people interested and kind of wanting a little bit more. And once again, it was the perfect segue into his next album that we did not know was coming, Hope on the Street. And I don't think anybody in the fandom thought that the members were going to release more than one album. We all kind of anticipated they'd release something, but then when they start coming out with two albums, we're like, what? So On the Street was a total shock. Little did we know that Right Place, Wrong Person and Muse were right around the corner as well. But On the Street Volume 1 was a perfect release in my eyes. I'm so glad he did it because Jack in the Box was kind of this like dark, different side of him trying to break free from the box he's been in, all of that. But then with Hope on the Street Volume 1, we kind of see him returning back to his roots. And it's like, okay, this is the Hobie that we know and love. I love this album. I don't think it's got a bad song on it, if I'm being honest. The song Neuron, which is named after the dance team that he was on, is just one of those ultimate feel good songs. It's the one that stuck in my brain the most after Hope on the Stage. I just remember Army singing that in unison together. It was such an uplifting moment. And people loved the album. Army loved it. But what really brought his entire discography alive was the Hope on the Stage tour. Right before Hobie enlisted, he was on a Weverse Live and people were asking him about a solo tour and he was like, no, I don't have that experience yet. I couldn't imagine filling up that stage. It's almost like him saying that out loud, put it into the universe, and now he had to prove to himself that he can do it. I sensed he was going to tour from the moment he got out of the military. I could feel it. I could feel that he was eager to get out there. He was in the dance studio almost immediately. And it's like, what's he doing there? He's either going to release music or he's going to go on a tour. So I called that pretty early. I said, he's going to tour in the spring. And I'm so glad I was right because it's been a dream of mine to see these songs performed live. Now, when the tour was first announced, the majority of Army was absolutely freaking out. But I will say, I also heard people saying, "Oh, I think I can skip it. I might not go to this one. I might wait it out." And I don't know that everyone thought that this tour was going to have the effect on them that it did. Now, I'm not going to go too much into my experience because I have a whole episode on my Hope on the Stage experience. But I will say, even as someone who has always been J-Hope music biased, this tour made me hear all of those songs in a completely different way. The aura that he has, it's the same J-Hope that we know, but it's also different. It's also different in that he is being way more feral than he's ever been. Like, absolutely unhinged feral and is driving Army crazy. Like, I don't care who your bias is, you are being wrecked by J-Hope in this moment as his tour is still going on across Asia. What I loved about it was that he really incorporated a lot of who he is as an artist in this tour. Dance is a huge part of his life. That is his passion, that's his love. And there was so much dance in this show. And that's also what I think made it so fun and made the energy so light and happy and euphoric was all of the dance and movement that was going on. And to see the look of complete joy on his face as he was doing that. And I've said this before, my hope for the members as they release these solo works is to be able to incorporate their passions and who they are into their art. And it's not just about the BTS persona, it's about who they are as individuals, being able to share that with the world. And that is starting to happen more and more with all of the members. So seeing J-Hope up there on this tour and watching him in all the fan cams and things like that, it really just feels like he is a complete person now. You know what I mean? Like, he is complete as an artist. He feels authentic and true to himself. He feels satisfied emotionally, musically, all of that. You can't unsee it. Once you see that complete state of bliss that he is in doing this, it's just infectious and you just want more of him. You want to see him like this more and more. So I'm interested to see what that dynamic will be like when he comes back with BTS because I think he's going to stand out from the other 6 in ways that he didn't before. And maybe that was because he chose to kind of step back and play his role in BTS and do it very well. But he knew his place. But now he's coming back as this developed artist and he has Army's full undivided attention. So I think people are going to be noticing him a lot more than they used to. Another thing I love about J Hope is his love for Army. Now, I know that all of the members have this sweet affection for Army, but the members that really stand out to me, where they're like, wow, Army is everything, is J Hope and JK. For them, it is very, very consistently expressed and known that they realize Army's the reason that they have what they have and they are grateful. J Hope always expresses it, and he is really showing Army so much love right now. He took the very brave step to do a send off where I think it's a little scary to get this close to Army. I mean, Army has shown how powerful they can be, how frightening they can be, how crazy they can be, but also how wonderfully supportive and loving they can be. And I think BTS wants a little bit more of that. So he took the bold step to give back to Army, get close to Army, do things like hold their hands, take selfies, interact, have those moments. He's posting Armies every day on his social media. And I feel like he's expressing this love that he's always had. And it feels really refreshing to feel truly seen by BTS. Not saying they didn't see us because they do, they acknowledge us, but Hobie has really set the stage for BTS to see us as human beings, as individuals, as friends, as peers, equals. That's kind of the energy that Hobie is putting out there. Not that he is in this ivory tower and we are his worshipers, but that we are old friends that have spent years and years growing up together. And we're just celebrating being in the same room and having fun. That's what it feels like. And that's so special and new. And I really hope that this continues with the others if they want it. I think there's some members that want to get really close to Army and some that want to keep that boundary there. It depends. But I hope the ones that do want to get close to us are able to because J Hope has kind of set the stage and shown what it needs to look like. And for the most part, Army is being respectful and behaving. And that's encouraging as well to the others, I'm sure. That's just one of the ways the other members are going to follow his lead. I think the others are going to follow in his footsteps when it comes to interacting with Army, having events, whether it's a full blown tour or maybe it's just a small showcase, whatever they want to do. I just have this feeling that the members that are enlisted while he's doing this are just like mind blown, like, wow, look at him doing this. And he's really taking it to the next level with Army. And they're probably laughing at how he's made us completely unhinged and he loves it. You can't tell me for 1 second that J Hope does not love all the attention he is getting and how thirsty we are for him. Every time he does a Weverse Live, he's reading out the comments that call him babe and oppa and calling him sexy, and he's just eating it up. And I love that. I love that that kind of taboo topic of sexualizing members of BTS is also kind of getting shut down by him. He is not appearing uncomfortable at all with it. He's playing into it. Every time we give him a little bit, he gives us back tenfold by making some kind of hand motion or gyrating on stage or giving us a peek underneath his robe. All of these ways he's toying with us, and it's amazing and it's fun. They're adults, we're adults. It's nice to just act like a human being that has attractions and thinks people are sexy. I can go on a tangent about that because I've been criticized so much for viewing them as sexual beings, and this is kind of like me laughing in the face of those people that criticized me. Because look at J Hope. He's acting a fool. And I think the others will too. I don't think he's the only one that's going to be loving making Army crazy. So, as I wrap this up, I want to talk about my guest coming on. Her name is Ava. I've known her for a few years now. And the reason I chose to have her on is because she did the unthinkable. She was a Jungi bias from day one, and she has fully converted to a J Hope bias after Hope on the stage. The claws Yoongi has on his stands are deep. They are in deep, and I personally have never seen someone fully change from Yoongi. So I said, you have to come on the podcast because she had this awakening and she's got this whole new light about her ever since she made that switch. So please welcome me in joining my special guest on the episode, Ava. Hello, Ava. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Jackie. Thank you for having me.
She's out on the West Coast, LA girly, and I'm just so happy you came to join me now. I didn't expect that you'd be coming on the J-Hope episode because you are a new J-Hope bias, but we're going to get into that. We have to talk about that. But first, why don't you start off and tell us your Army story?
Okay, sure. Well, it was a pretty gradual process, but I first noticed them in 2019 when they performed on SNL, and I saw a YouTube video of Mic Drop. I was just like so impressed. I was like, "What? Who are these people?" You know, and then I was also feeling very proud of them representing Asians on this long-standing famous American show. So I thought, they were just phenomenal. And so that was my first encounter with them. Shortly thereafter, towards the end of the year, I heard that they were going to be on the New Year's Eve show. So I decided I wanted to stay up and watch. I never stay up for New Year's Eve, but for them, I decided I really wanted to see them. And then again, it was because like, wow, there's this Asian group or these Asian artists who are appearing on this, American tradition, participating in that. And I just thought that was such a big deal. So I needed to watch them. And I stayed up and watched them, tired as hell, but I watched them. And again, they were phenomenal. I was so impressed. They looked so good. They sounded good. So, we got into my head a little bit. Then I found out that Map of the Soul tour was going on. So I found tickets on StubHub and I said to myself, maybe we'll go see them, and I thought like it'll be a family outing. So I bought tickets for my family, thinking that we're just gonna go and, see a concert, whatever, and of course by that time, when I found out about the tour, it was all, only resale tickets. But it wasn't until the music video for On came out that I finally was like, oh my gosh, the song was amazing, the performance was amazing, the dance break. And after that, I was just like, okay, I'm officially an Army. I'm officially an Army.
Wow. So this was kind of like a slow burn for you. Like you
Yes.
kind of started dipping your toes in and it was like
Yeah.
you progressively became Army. Whereas, most people I talk to, it's like they see them and they go down the rabbit hole immediately, but you kind of like eased your way in. I had no idea that you had tickets to the Map of the Soul tour. So you also went to PTD LA. How many nights of
Yes.
PTD LA did you go to?
Girl, I went all four. I was blessed.
I mean, you're kind of like me in that you're on a major coast. So we get lucky. New York and LA get lucky when it comes to tour time. We're very, very blessed in that way.
Absolutely.
So how would you say in your life BTS has positively impacted you?
Wow. They basically took me out of my shell. Before them, I was, just very unconfident and just kind of shy or whatever, never really sure of myself. But after watching them perform and sing, I just was so inspired by them that I started dancing in my backyard for like hours in the morning, at nighttime. I just go out there, I put on my speaker and I would just start dancing. Because I don't know, they really inspired me. I wasn't dancing to BTS music necessarily because they have their own choreos. So I was just kind of freestyling, listening to music that I liked, and then also just learning choreography on YouTube. I just became this dance obsessed person. But the biggest deal is that I started posting my dance on social media, which is a huge, huge change in my life because, like I said, I was not very confident, but they just like took me out of my shell. And now I'm like always going to dance classes, you know. They really, really helped me find like my passion because I've always liked dance when I was little. I always danced just, you know, on my own, but never had any professional training. So, but I always wanted to have that. And so having BTS in my life has really helped me go for that. And so I'm lucky enough that I have this amazing dance studio nearby me, and I just take classes there. It just gives me so much joy to be able to do that. Yeah.
We connected on that because I've never been a dancer, but
Uh-huh.
BTS inspired me. Like, I want to learn that dance. I want to learn that choreo. And I started posting too. We both were kind of simultaneously posting ourselves dancing, and we are not professional dancers, even though y'all,
Oh,
Ava, you have a very natural ability. Like, your freestyling is amazing. So we connected through the dancing piece. We were kind of just like fangirling over each other. But then we also came to discover that J Hope is both of our music biases. He's our favorite. And before we got on here, I was just telling Ava how I haven't met anybody else who had like a bias, and then J Hope was their music bias. I felt
mm,
like I was always, kind of alone in that. Now, since his tour, everybody is loving J Hope's music, which is amazing because it's so good. But your bias is actually was Yoongi.
yeah, it was Yoongi.
So was Yoongi your bias right away when you came into the fandom? Like, was he your first ever
No,
bias?
It was JK. JK caught my attention.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, 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 yes.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
JK. I remember that
yeah.
now.
Briefly. Yeah.
I think it is like a phenomenon that you have actually changed your bias from Yoongi to J Hope. We know that everybody has J Hope as a wrecker now, especially since Hope on the
Hmm.
Stage. He is
Hmm.
everybody's wrecker, everybody's wrecked. But to actually say, no, he is my bias now.
Right. I don't know anyone else who has switched either. I feel like I'm the only one. Yeah.
And this all happened as a product of Hope on the Stage. So you went to Hope on the Stage in LA, right? Did you have expectations going into Hope on the Stage of what that was going to be like, or were you just completely blown away, shocked by it all?
I knew it was going to be good. Like I knew he was going to be amazing because he's always been my bias wrecker. I like him because of his stage performance and you know, his work ethic and just he's a dynamic performer. I know you said that he's like the most dynamic performer. So I knew it was going to be good, but I deliberately avoided spoilers because we were the last stop of the North American tour. So for like, I had to wait several weeks to watch him. And it was probably about a month after you guys had watched them in Brooklyn. So it was so tough to be on social media and see clips because I would just swipe and swipe because I wanted to experience it firsthand. So I deliberately just would not watch any of the clips. I didn't know the set list. So I went in totally blind, totally blind. I remember walking in the parking lot with my girlfriend, going to the concert arena on the first night, and I hear J Hope practicing mic drop, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And she's looking at me like, "Why are you so shocked? Like, don't you know that's part of the set list?" But I really didn't know. So I go in there and he comes up that stage, rising up in the red leather. He had fur, sunglasses on, hair slicked back. He had this big red, like this long red tie. I mean, he was so boss, so dumb. I was just like, what is going on? I was so confused and so caught off guard. I couldn't believe it. Literally, I was like falling over the chair in front of me and like dropping to the ground. I was just falling over. I couldn't handle it.
How you had that willpower to go into that blind. That is tough. In theory, I'd love to do that, but I can't help myself. I mean, we were one of the first shows, but I don't know, me, like the content creator and the planner, I'm like thinking in my head, like, I need to know what's coming. But I still got the Mona Lisa surprise, which was like my moment where I was falling over. Like, what was that? And that was probably one of the highlights of the show for me. What do you think your favorite part was of Hope on the Stage? Was there like a certain section of it that you loved?
I think that the section where he did the Mona Lisa and Sweet Dreams, I really, really like that. I love what he was wearing. When he came in that outfit, the tank top and then the shiny Mona Lisa belt. And the camera was like panning towards the belt at one point. That blew me away. I was like, what are they doing? What is this? What is this focus on this crotch area?
I always thought that J-Hope was hot. I always did. But this is a different side that he has shown. Like he has definitely embraced his sex appeal and he knows and loves what he is doing to Army.
Really enjoying it.
You could tell that he is really, really enjoying it.
He's having so much fun.
So you went to 2 nights. I had heard through the grapevine that you were completely wrecked, and I reached out to you,
Mm-hmm.
and you were
Yep.
still, you hadn't made the change yet. You were like in crisis mode, kind of like, oh my gosh, what does this mean? And
Mm-hmm.
as someone who changed their bias, I changed my bias officially. I was just kind of like, J Hope is like the perfect bias for you. Like now that I know you, I know about you, I observe you a lot on social media. I'm like, duh, J Hope is the perfect bias. Like, hello, why didn't we never see that before? And now it makes perfect sense because you embody a lot of his qualities. You have a lot of energy, you're hardworking, you strive to do things really well. You're cheerful and bright and radiant. So once you had that realization, is it just like boom, like Yoongi is no longer?
So honestly, what had happened was the first night of after hot, I was already feeling like, uh-oh, what's going on? Is he going to be my bias? And I just had this uneasy feeling like I'm about to switch biases. What about Yoongi? You know, I've been loyal to Yoongi for like 5 years. This can't happen. So it wasn't until after the second night when I went back, I totally fell in love. And I left there basically admitting that privately to myself that he was my bias because the shame and guilt I felt being like this cheater, betrayer. What am I going to tell my sister wives? Like, what? How am I going to come out with this? I just, yeah, I was kind of like letting it sit in. But then you left me this voicemail saying that he is my perfect match. That hit me freaking so hard. I had this humongous awakening. Like, oh my gosh, you know, she's right. Like he has, you know, some similarities with me. We share a lot of the same traits. Yeah.
And I feel like you don't notice that until you start paying attention. Like I felt the same with JK. Like I was so loyal to Tay that I wasn't seeing that a lot of the personality traits that JK has, I had too. It wasn't until I changed to him officially when I was like, wow, like actually who he is as a human and who I am as a human, we're very similar people in that way. And like I just never noticed it before because when you choose a bias, when you come into BTS, you choose a bias and you like dive into that person, you pledge your loyalty.
When I look at Yoongi, I feel this sadness, like, oh my God, you know, nothing happened. You know, we just kind of went separate ways. This sadness, like I kind of mourn his loss, but then I'm like, I'm in love with another man, you know.
Do you get your wrecker now or do you have another wrecker?
I don't have any records currently. All about all about Hobie.
That's
All
funny.
about it.
That's how you know. That's how you know when you are down bad, when you're like, I don't have a wrecker. I don't.
I shocked myself. I can't even believe it.
I say that Tay's my wrecker, but he's not in that, like, he's not going to take JK's place ever. He's a wrecker in that he's my second favorite, but he's not a wrecker in that he's actually going to wreck my bias. So,
Right.
what is it about J Hope that is special to you? What do you love about him?
Wow, J-Ho, I love his positive and upbeat attitude and personality. He's just he has so much energy, and I really gravitate towards that. I can identify with that. Love that about him. But he is also somebody who works so hard and demands perfection, you know, and that kind of work ethic is very admirable. So I love that. I love that dance leader persona in him. Um, and he, you know, his stage performance is incredible. I always knew he can hold his own, you know, always knew that. If anyone could do a one man show and make it really awesome, it would be him. You know, I always knew that. So his voice, his singing voice is my favorite out of all seven members. When I heard him on Make It Right, his section was like, it was so soothing to my ears. You know, I love the raspiness in the texture of his voice. I'm just kind of, it was also very soothing at times. It caught my attention right away. So every time I hear him some part of BTS song. I crave more. I'm like, why didn't they give him a longer section? I just want to listen to him, you know. So he's always been my favorite singer, and then also my favorite rapper because he has so much texture in his rap voice. He's so versatile. Like he can go from a low bass tone to a like a wild feral holler. I mean, he has such a good wide range, you know. So I always like that's why he was like my favorite rapper, even though Yoongi's my bias. I love Yoongi. Yoongi's an awesome rapper himself with his tongue technology, you know. But I like the sound of J Hope's voice.
I would argue he's got the most unique sound out of all seven, just when it comes
Oh
to his
yeah.
rap style. Like, I never
Uh-huh.
heard rap like that. I specifically remember the day D Day came out, you messaged me and said, how are you doing after J Hope's raspy verse on Huh?
You see, I really like it. I really like that part of his voice.
Yes, it is like the sexiest thing. So, out of all of his music to date, out of let's say Hope World, Jack in the
Mhm.
Box, and
Mhm.
Hope on
Mm.
the Street,
Mhm.
which one is your favorite? Do you have a favorite of the three?
It's hard to choose. Like I said, he's our music bias, so I love all of his albums. I love all of his songs. But if I had to really choose one, and I had to think about it, I would choose "Hope on the Street" because it's really chill. It has like a dancey vibe to it, and really enjoy the time of him putting out that album when he would just sort of went back to his roots in dancing and really showing Army all of that again. Really appreciated that, and then I like to dance, and so that album, the songs on that album make me feel like I want to dance too. So I think that's my favorite for sure.
That kind of leads us into song choice of the episode, which is very hard. Two
Uh-huh.
J-Hope music biases here trying to choose a
Uh-huh.
favorite song. I was trying to guess what you were going to choose, and I was close because I think our song choices kind of go hand in hand. So why don't you
Uh-huh.
tell everybody what your Hobie song
Uh-huh.
choice is?
So I chose Hang Sang because that song, like the bass line is, they both gravitate towards me, but I mean, they grab my attention every single time I hear it. It just does something to me. It's just,
Yeah.
I love how he sounds like a menace in the song. He's like a troublemaker and love that. I love all that. And then he shows a lot of range in that song as well. Yeah,
And
that's
let's
definitely
talk about Hang Sang Live.
right. And he performed the hell out of that. Oh my God.
Like Kelly and I were like hooting and hollering, like we were just like, yeah, because it's just
And I was going wild. I was going wild. There was the part in Hang Sang when he performed it live, he's singing the outro and he looks dead in the camera and he just is looking at you like he's here to cause havoc. Was dying. I was dying. His facial expressions, some of these new facial expressions that he was putting out, I'd never seen before. It was just like, who is this man?
when I first dove into J Hope's discography, that was one of the first songs I heard was
Hmm.
Hang Sang, and I
Hmm.
was like, what is this? Like, I never heard
Right.
anything like this. Like, this is like,
Yeah.
but then Baseline was another one, and I thought that's what you were gonna pick. I was like, is it Baseline? You're like, no, it's Hang Sang. I'm like,
Definitely.
tomato, tomato. They're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, right. They do go hand in hand. That's how I feel.
oh my
They're
gosh.
definitely my two favorite songs by Hobie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I loved is that when we went to Hope on the stage, when we had sound check, we got to hear Hang Sang and Baseline twice because he did them both at sound check.
Yeah.
Did you have sound
Yeah.
check at all?
Yeah. I for the first night I did. Yeah. So he definitely did that. I was just screaming, hollering, couldn't believe it. And he's so incredible. Like at Soundcheck, he's already performing for us. He's not just hanging around, standing, walking back and forth pacing. He's actually full on performing and dancing, which was such a treat. It's almost like we get to see him twice, kind of in the same night.
The energy was off the charts at his sound
Yeah,
check.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
so good. You
So,
know, we'll see how you react when you see all seven together again. And if Yoongi grabs your attention back, probably not. I feel like you are like locked in, but it's an exciting time to change your bias. Like it's
oh my gosh, it's like having a new boo. I'm like, just like, what am I going on?
like a fresh new relationship.
Yeah, so like I go back and look at his old videos and I'm looking at him with different lenses now. I'm just like, oh wow, he's always been the guy, but I didn't notice it.
Well, I greatly appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored. I think I'm just so impressed with you. I'm so proud of what you're doing. You are educating Army. Everything you say is so intelligent and relatable. I love that you're doing this podcast and sticking with it. I hope you keep going because you're so good at what you're doing. It's great.
Thank you. I definitely will. I mean, we got a lot to talk about. Exciting time to be Army. That's for sure.
Definitely.
Um, but I hope to have you back again. Now that you're
Oh,
comfortable in the podcast space,
thank you, Jackie. Thank you so much for thinking of me.
of course, as a pleasure. Until next time.
Bye, Army. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for joining me as I gushed about my music bias, J-Hope. I'm about to go finish packing my bags and getting ready for my Korea adventure, but I promise this podcast is not going anywhere. We might be taking a little break, a little hiatus, if you will, but we'll be back in a few weeks to unpack Festa. I'm looking forward to celebrating with you, Army. Borhe!